At my fiancé's homecoming party after studying abroad, she was holding her foreign boyfriend's hand and wanted to break off our engagement. Her parents pleaded desperately, begging me to keep her for the sake of our childhood friendship. This time, I refused. Let's dissolve the engagement. From today on, we each go our separate ways in marriage. In my previous life, I took pity on my childhood sweetheart's parents and sincerely tried to keep her. Eventually, she did marry me. But 3 years later, my shares were transferred, my company went bankrupt, and I was left with enormous high-interest debts. My parents passed away under the unbearable burden. My wife nestled in that man's arms from before. This is what you owe me. After being reborn, I returned to the day she just came back to the country. This time, she can marry whoever she wants. She thought I married her to save my family company from disaster, but she didn't know that it was actually her family that was about to go bankrupt. I never thought I would wake up again. Looking at the room full of guests before me, my previous life seemed like a dream. But I know it was all real. I stood at the entrance of the hotel, just wanting to cancel this ridiculous welcome banquet. Welcome back for Wenxue, who has completed her studies. Mother worriedly asked beside me. What's wrong with you? Mom, I want to cancel today's welcome banquet. Starting over again, I just want to preserve the Liu family's dignity. What nonsense are you talking about, child? Xiaoxie has finally returned. How can we not show any appreciation? I sighed silently. Mom is right. I was just joking. Mother glanced at me disapprovingly. Still so thoughtless. At this moment, Wenxue's parents had also arrived, but Wenxue herself was nowhere to be seen. Wenxue's mother asked with concern, why does Luoyi look so troubled? Before I could speak, my mother answered for me. He hasn't seen Xiaoxie for a long time. He's just nervous. Wenxue's mother heard this with a smile, and both sets of parents looked at me teasingly. In their eyes, I was still that impulsive young man nervous about seeing my love after a long separation. But I was just thinking about how to gracefully withdraw and let her be with her true love. In my previous life, I always believed my marriage was perfect. But unexpectedly, at the family gathering on our wedding anniversary, Wenxue took a stack of documents and threw them in my face. Lu Hui, you're bankrupt now. You have nothing left to threaten me with. Haven't I been good to you? She looked at me coldly. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have separated from Jack. This is what you owe me. Wenxue pulled the foreign man behind her, their fingers intertwined. This is all over now. She stepped aside, and a group of creditors entered behind her. All the valuable items in our home were taken away. The stack of documents she threw at me consisted only of equity transfers, dismissal notices, and bankruptcy certificates. Wenxue not only swallowed our family business, but also borrowed 50 million in my name. I asked her why. She said, only when you're completely ruined can I pursue my happiness. It turned out these 3 years of marriage were all pretense, just her enduring humiliation for this day. She wanted to see me left with nothing, utterly defeated. This is just my personal mistake. Please spare my family. Wenxue had a smile on her face, but her eyes were cold. Kneel down and beg me. I knelt at her feet. I beg you, please spare my parents. She lowered her head, leaned close to my ear, in what I once thought was an intimate gesture, and whispered, fine, as long as you die. I looked up into her eyes, seeing only coldness and determination. I climbed up to the rooftop. Standing at the edge, I looked down. Wenxue stood in the shadows of the corner, watching everything with satisfaction. She truly wanted me dead. I leaped forward, only hearing my parents cry out behind me. No. In my final moment of consciousness, I heard my parents' anguished cries and her whisper in my ear. Next, it's your parents' turn. She never intended to spare my family. Memory flashing back, I struggled to calm myself. Family and friends from both sides were already seated. But after waiting for a long time, there was still no sign of Wenxue. With the main character still not arriving, the guests began to whisper among themselves. The faces of Wen's parents showed embarrassment, while my mother's face also carried a hint of worry. I gently placed my hand on my mother's, resolving that in this life I would not let her or my father suffer the slightest harm because of me. After another half hour, the hotel doors finally opened. Everyone looked toward the entrance. Both sets of parents stood up, ready to welcome the daughter-in-law they hadn't seen for a long time. My mother had already taken out the gift she had prepared long ago, ready to go to the entrance, and even gave me a push from behind. But before her foot could touch the ground, she froze. The person who entered was indeed Wenxue, but there was also a foreign man holding her hand tightly. She nestled against him, and without further explanation, everyone present immediately understood their relationship. The man was tall, with fair skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Despite the racial differences, everyone could see his handsome features. Some people's gazes quietly turned toward me. Their eyes were filled with sympathy. Everyone knew that we had been engaged since high school graduation. I had waited for her for a full 5 years, turning down countless young ladies from prestigious families. I was just waiting for her to finish her studies and return, so we could hold our wedding. But who could have imagined that now she has returned, she has already given her heart to someone else? The Wen family parents' faces turned ashen, and my parents' expressions were equally grim. Mr. Wen pointed at the door and shouted angrily, "Either you ask him to leave, or both of you get out." Wen Shui held that man's hand tightly, showing no intention of letting go. Mr. Wen became even more furious, about to throw his wine glass to the floor. I stopped his action and whispered in his ear, "Uncle, don't make the situation more awkward." But Wen Shui showed no appreciation for this gesture, confidently walking in and approaching her parents, saying loudly, "This is my boyfriend, Jack. And he's the only man I want to marry in this lifetime." All the guests started buzzing with discussion, and Mr. Wen finally couldn't hold back and smashed his wine glass on the floor. "I do not consent to this. How can you do this to Lu Wei? He has waited for you for a full 5 years. I know that mentioning me at this time was just an excuse, because he didn't want his daughter to marry a foreigner. Also because the Wen family needed the support of our Lu family. In my previous life, I didn't understand. Just because I had already decided she was my wife, I went to win her back without hesitation. But I had long forgotten that what can be won back is either indifference or resentment. She only married me under pressure, married with full reluctance. She lay dormant for 3 years, deceiving everyone, making everyone believe she was willingly my wife. Yet secretly eroded the Lu Corporation, step by step taking the Lu Corporation into her own hands, just waiting until everything was prepared for a decisive strike. She was a perfect hunter, and we were merely her prey. At this moment, the man beside her asked in broken Chinese, "Snow, do you already have a fiancé?" "Darling, that was arranged by my family. I don't love him. I love only you, and you're the only one I want to marry." "Oh, I love you too." The couple's public display of affection only fueled Father Wen's anger. Just as he was about to flip the table, I stopped his hand. "Uncle, let's cancel the engagement. Wen Shui has already given her heart to someone else, and I'm willing to give her my blessing. From today onwards, we'll each go our separate ways in marriage, and there will be no more connections between the Wen family and my Lu family." Before I could finish, Father Wen interrupted, "That's unacceptable. So what would Uncle Wen like me to do? Don't forget, the Wen family's face is important, but my Lu family's reputation isn't just a piece of paper." With that, I took my parents' hands and turned to leave. Behind me came the loud sound of a slap, followed by an angry curse. "You ungrateful child." The matter seemed to conclude with my breaking off the engagement, but I knew it was far from over. As long as the Wen family still needed the Lu family's help, Wen Shui's parents would never agree to our canceled engagement. Even less would they agree to her marrying a foreigner. In my previous life, it was for this reason that Wen Shui eventually compromised. Furthermore, Wen's mother, knowing I had true feelings for Wen Shui, whispered poison in my ear. I personally witnessed her breaking up with Jack back then. That man never understood why people in love couldn't be together. He had once desperately tried to keep her, but ended up being beaten by a group of people. Wen Shui thought I was behind it. She blamed everything on me, but I knew nothing about this incident. It was a threat made by Wen's father to force him to give up returning to his country. I still remember the look in Wen Shui's eyes the day Jack left, resentment and reluctance. I always thought it was my imagination, but it turned out to be her true feelings. Afterwards, she became calm, as if her previous resistance had been fake, and she transformed into an ordinary wife. I had been deceived once, so when Wen's mother approached me again this time, I refused. I know the Wen family needs the Lu family's help. They won't give up so easily. I comforted her. Marriage and dating are ultimately different, and with cultural differences added in, it's better to agree to their relationship and wait until their feelings wear thin through daily life. Then they'll naturally separate. Now their feelings are intense. The more we obstruct, the deeper their feelings will grow. It's better to let nature take its course. You're right, I was overthinking. She naturally didn't want to create tension with her daughter, and hearing me speak this way, she naturally assumed I would wait for the day when Wen Shui and Jack separated. In my previous life, I indeed did that. But why should I? I, the mighty heir to the Lu family. Why should I marry a woman who doesn't have me in her heart? The Wen family, no matter when, is always so self-assured. She patted my shoulder. You always see the bigger picture. I haven't misjudged you as my own son. Own son. If I weren't the Lu family heir, I wonder if she would still say that. In my previous life, when Wen Shui did all those things, she never once mentioned treating me like her own son. She didn't even mention the favor our family had done for them back then. Even until the end, Wen Shui believed that it was my Lu family who desperately wanted to marry her for help from her family. In my previous life, I willingly accepted my fate. But this time I won't. During these 5 years, there have been suitable women who have shown interest in me. My mother's close friend, Auntie Song's daughter Song Shuran, who was also my junior at school, once confessed to me. I always refused because of my engagement, but deep down I actually liked this kind of cheerful and open-minded girl. Upon hearing the news of my broken engagement, she came to my home immediately. Perhaps she ran too hastily, as she was still catching her breath when she arrived. As soon as she saw me, she rushed over and hugged me tightly. "Senior, is it my turn now?" The last time she confessed to me, she said she would wait for me, getting in line first, so that if one day I broke up with Wen Shui, I would consider her first. "Yes, it's your turn, Song Shuran. Would you marry me?" She kept her head down without speaking, making me think she disagreed. "If you feel it's too sudden, we can also." She raised her head, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed my lips, only letting go after a long while. "I do." The corners of her eyes were red, and a sense of guilt welled up in my heart. I had made her wait too long. Only now did I realize that I had stopped loving Wen Shui long ago. Waiting for her had just been habit, an obsession. After everything I'd experienced, I discovered that my heart had already changed. My mother was also very happy about us getting together. After discussions between both families, they quickly moved on to planning the wedding. I leaned back on the sofa reviewing documents while Song Shuran lay across my legs looking through catalogs to choose a wedding dress. Although both families had agreed that the wedding should be held after Song Shuran graduated, she strongly objected. "I don't want to make Lu Wai wait anymore, and I don't want to wait either. I just want to marry him. Besides, getting married won't prevent me from completing my studies." Seeing how determined she was, both sets of parents could only agree. Many people came on the wedding day, but the Wen family was not among them. But just as Song Shuran and I were about to recite our wedding vows and make lifelong promises to each other, the doors of the banquet hall were suddenly pushed open. Wen Shui, also wearing a wedding dress, came before me. "Lu Wan, if I say I want to marry you now, would you marry me?" After saying this, without waiting for my response, she grabbed my wrist, trying to pull me away. Some guests in the audience had already stood up and were taking photos with their phones. I yanked my hand away from hers. This woman never learned to care about others' feelings. When she didn't want me, she discarded me like trash. When she wanted me, she expected me to come at her beck and call. How could things be so convenient for her? "Wen Shui, I don't love you anymore. Please leave. Today I'm marrying Song Shuran." "You're lying. You waited for me for 5 years. How can you say you don't love me just like that?" The woman before me only made me feel absurd. "You were the one who abandoned me first. Why should I wait for you to come back after you gave up on me? Wen Shui, who do you think you are? What gives you the right to demand this of me? Is it because of this woman? Is it because of her that you abandoned me and Wen Corporation?" "Huh, so it's still about Wen Corporation." I lowered my head and gently kissed Song Shuran's lips. "Do you see clearly now? This is my wife. In what capacity are you questioning me? As a cheating ex-girlfriend? Wen Shui, I stopped loving you long ago." Slap. A slap landed on my face. "You liar." Her slap made my head turn slightly. Before I could react, Song Shuran stepped forward and slapped Wen Shui across the face. "Miss Wen, you're disrupting my wedding and hitting my husband. Do you really think the Song family has no one to stand up for us?" "Humph, the Song family. If you hadn't latched onto the Lu family, what would the Song family even be? Don't act so noble. If the Lu family couldn't help the Song family, would you be so eager to marry him? Don't think that just because your heart is dirty, everyone else's is too. Wen Shui, thank you for giving up on Huiji. Now he's finally mine, and I love him." I looked deeply at the girl in front of me, taking out the wedding ring I had prepared long ago. Just as I was about to take out the wedding ring and put it on her finger, Wen Shui snatched it away. Opening the box, inside was a diamond ring with a large blue diamond set on top. The light shone on it, reflecting brilliant rays. This was what I had prepared long ago, a diamond ring for my future wife. And this was also what Wen Shui had always wanted. She took out the ring. "You want to give this ring to her? This was clearly what you promised me." Her voice was shrill, her eyes looking at me as if they could spit fire. "This is what I promised to my wife, but you are not her." I snatched the ring back from her hand, carefully placed it on Song Shuran's ring finger. Then I kissed her lips. At this moment, it was as if there were starlight flickering in her eyes. "Fine, it seems you've made up your mind to choose her over me. Then just wait and see." After leaving those threatening words, Wen Shui turned and left. Song Shuran gently took hold of my fingers, with a hint of worry in her tone. "She won't do anything, will she? I've done nothing wrong to her, don't worry," I said calmly. That same night, a trending topic appeared on the charts. Hashtag Song Shuran Homewrecker. Who did it? Without a doubt. The phone connected, and Wen Shui's voice came through. "What? Having regrets now?" Even through the phone, I could imagine her smug expression at this moment. "What do you want to do? As long as you help Wen Corporation, I'll personally hold a press conference to clarify everything. Otherwise, Song Shuran will never be able to clear her name as a homewrecker." Before I could say anything more, Wen Shui hung up the phone. Wen Shui had always been this ruthless to others, and even more ruthless to herself. This kind of tactic That hurts the enemy 1,000 while harming oneself 800. Only someone like her would employ. Song Shuren's eyes were red, but she still said, "It's okay, the innocent will be proven innocent. As long as you know I'm blameless, that's enough." I raised both arms and pulled her into my embrace. "I won't let her smear your reputation, don't worry. I will definitely handle this matter. Spreading rumors doesn't require evidence, and besides, if this matter were to be investigated, it certainly wouldn't lead back to Wenxue. The only solution was to go along with Wenxue's demands, help the Wen Corporation, and have her voluntarily clear things up. For Lu Corporation, helping Wen Corporation wasn't a big deal. However, after breaking off the engagement, I didn't want to have any further entanglements with the Wen family, which is why I had cut off all business dealings between the two companies. And what Wenxue wanted was precisely to restore those business relations. After discussing the various terms of the contract with the legal department, I notified Wen Corporation to send someone to sign it. However, I didn't expect that the person who showed up would be Wenxue herself. As soon as she entered the conference room, Wenxue threw the contract onto the table. "This contract is unacceptable." "Why?" "This contract only made adjustments to some details compared to the previous one, with no substantial changes overall." "Mr. Lu, you're the one asking for my help now. How can you still follow the old terms?" "I want to increase the profit margin by 10 percentage points. "Wenxue, don't push your luck." 15, then. I almost couldn't help but laugh at the woman in front of me. How had I never noticed before how shameless she was? "Fine, 15 it is, as long as you're not afraid of choking on it." Once the contract was reprinted, I signed it without hesitation. This amount of money meant nothing to me compared to Song Shuren's reputation. After signing, Wenxue came over to shake my hand, and she took the opportunity to whisper in my ear. "Mr. Lu, do you really not want to be with me again?" I sneered. "I'm already married. Are you suggesting you want to be the other woman? I thought Miss Wen would be the last person to stoop to being a mistress. Besides, what about your Jack?" Wenxue finally left with a cold expression. I knew she still couldn't let go of Jack. Everything she did to me was just for the Wen Corporation. However, the trending topic hadn't been taken down. Instead, more and more exposés were pushed to the top of the trending list. All at once, Song Shuren became a vicious, calculating woman despised by everyone. When I called Wenxue again, her responses became evasive. "I've been abroad recently, as there's an urgent situation with the company's overseas business that needs to be handled. I can send a mess. Age to clarify things. As for holding a press conference, that might need to wait for a while. It's not that I don't want to clarify, but who do you think you are? I don't want to be associated with you. I already have a boyfriend." Later, calls couldn't get through, messages went unanswered, and even her parents became unreachable. It looks like she just wants to cling to the Lu family and leech off them. Meanwhile, Song Shuren's school, major, and even her class and student ID were all dug up. Whenever she appeared at school, people would point and whisper about her, and some even came to her classroom to call her a scheming green tea bitch and homewrecker. Even her teachers called her in for a talk, suggesting she take a break from school to avoid the spotlight. And recently, strangers have been appearing near her home. Song Shuren didn't tell me about this. Yesterday I got off work early to pick her up from school, and only then did I notice people pointing and whispering about us. When I asked her about it, she finally told me that on her way home, there were suspicious people lurking around our neighborhood. According to the security guard, many people have been lingering around recently with unknown intentions. "Brother, maybe I should take a break from school for a while. We just got married. We could go on a honeymoon, and by the time we come back, this matter might have faded away. I'm sorry, this is all because of me." I stroked her hair. "But we should definitely go on a honeymoon, and we can't ignore this situation either. Don't worry, I'll take care of it." "Okay, I understand. I just didn't tell you because I knew you were so busy." She buried her face in my chest. After arriving home, I went to the balcony and dialed Wenshue's number. The call went through, but no one answered. Then I called Wenshue's father, and this time the call connected. "Uncle Wan, the additional condition when we signed the contract was that Wenxue would clarify the relationship between us. But now she hasn't fulfilled her promise in a timely manner, which has caused tremendous harm to my family. If I don't see her personally holding a press conference to clarify this within 3 days, the cooperation will be terminated. The Wen Corporation will also have to pay the Lu Corporation a breach of contract penalty of 30 million. Without waiting for him to speak, I hung up. Not long after I hung up the phone, Wenxue called. "What do you mean?" She started with a questioning tone. "I'm just following the contract. If Miss Wen has any objections, you can have your lawyer discuss it." After saying this, I was about to hang up. "Wait, I really can't return. Please give me a few more days. 1 week. I'll definitely give you a proper response within 1 week. Sorry, I don't trust Miss Wen's promises at all." I hung up the phone. She kept calling back, so I simply added her to my blacklist. Then I made another call to instruct the company's legal department. If Wenxue doesn't clarify the online rumors within 3 days, proceed with claims against Wen Corporation for breach of contract. Song Shuren's mood improved a little. but it was still obvious she was forcing a smile. Even my mother called to ask, "What's going on online recently? Why are there so many rumors?" Although Shuren's family isn't asking, you need to handle this quickly before people come asking you. Alright, I plan to take Shuren away for a break, which can also serve as our honeymoon. The company will be in your and Dad's hands. Fine, you two go ahead, but you need to resolve this matter quickly. After comforting her with a few more words, I hung up the phone and said to Song Shuren, "I told my parents, we can go on our honeymoon now. Where would you like to go?" Upon hearing we could go out for fun, Song Shuren immediately jumped up and started planning where to go. Watching her busily running around the room, I secretly let out a sigh of relief. Just then, a call from an unknown number came in, but I never answer calls from strangers on my private number. Soon I received a message. "Lu Wei, how dare you play for real? Aren't you afraid Song Shuren will be utterly disgraced?" Of course I'm afraid. I've been sending people to investigate the source of the recent negative news, but so far we found nothing. But I also know that when Shui has no intention of clarifying things, and if I continue to compromise, her demands will only grow. If things don't work out, I'll just have to let it cool down naturally. The internet has a short memory. After some time, things will naturally cool down, and no one will remember this incident. By the time we returned from our trip, when Shui still hadn't clarified the matter, the Lu group also formally terminated cooperation with the One group and filed for compensation. My mother told me that Wen's parents personally came to our door to plead, wanting to see me and complain to my parents, but they were all turned away by my parents. Since I broke off the engagement with Wen Shui, they never contacted our family except when they needed help from the Lu family. This family truly treats people well only when they need them, and turns their backs when they don't. But Wen Shui never appeared throughout this whole situation. The rumors gradually died down. I personally drove Song Shuren to school, and people at school began to doubt the truthfulness of the rumors. Just when I thought this matter was going to pass, someone online released another photo. A photo of me and Song Shuren together before I graduated. The caption read, "If this isn't a mistress, do you believe it?" I certainly don't. That photo was a group picture taken during a school sports meet. At that time, I wasn't aware of Song Shuren's feelings for me. Our two families had known each other since we were young, and I only treated her like a little sister. So when taking photos she leaned against me, and I didn't think much of it. She was just a freshman at that time and hadn't confessed her feelings to me. It wasn't until my second year of graduate school, when she was a junior, that she became aware of her feelings for me and confessed for the first time. And after I told her I had a girlfriend, she didn't pursue me anymore. She was not the other woman, and many people knew about this at the time. Sure enough, many classmates soon spoke up. "This is just a memento from the XX year sports meet. What can it prove?" As far as I know, Lu Wei told everyone he had a girlfriend at that time. Laughable. They can fabricate such rumors from a random photo. With that logic, would group photos of us be interpreted as an orgy? Does spreading rumors cost nothing these days? I was the one who took this photo for them. However, some people only choose to believe what they want to believe, even when evidence is presented right before their eyes. Is this the beginning of image whitewashing? Money really can do anything. Would ordinary classmates stand so close when taking photos? I'm young, but don't think you can fool me. The photo reignited an issue that had already lost its heat, making it boil over again. The phone screen lit up, displaying a call from Song Shuren's mother. "Xiaohui, what's going on with the news online lately?" "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't handle this matter promptly, but I've been investigating and will resolve it as soon as possible." "I certainly believe you, but I'm worried that Shuren is under too much pressure." "Yes, I understand. I'll stay by her side. Trust me, this matter will die down soon." The incident was gaining more and more attention, impossible to suppress even with money. But suddenly, another incident broke out, and instantly the news about Song Shuren vanished without a trace. When corporation's overseas branch went bankrupt, import and export goods were suspected of smuggling, and some prohibited items were discovered. The Wen family was finished. As soon as this news broke, Wen Shui frantically sent me messages. "Lu Wei, please save me. I will definitely clear Song Shuren's name this time, as long as you can protect the Wen family. I'm right outside your door. I'm begging you, please come out." The doorbell rang at the entrance. I opened the door, and Wen Shui was standing at the doorway. At this moment, her hair was disheveled, and even with makeup, she couldn't hide the haggardness on her face. "Lu Wei, please, for the sake of our two families' friendship, save our family. I'll do whatever you ask me to do, and I won't lie to you this time. I admit that all the news about Song Shuren online was released by people I hired. As long as you're willing to save Wen Corporation, I can give you all the evidence and publicly clarify and apologize to Song Shuren." As she spoke, her tears fell. Just then, my mother also called. "Xiaohui, see if you can help the Wen family. Your Uncle Wen and his family have come begging to our door. It's really pitiful. I see that your father can't bear it either." Wen Shui at the door had tears in her eyes. "Please." "Fine." After saying that, I closed the door. The long-delayed press conference was finally held. Recently, news about Wen Corporation and Lu Corporation has been spreading wildly online, and many media outlets came to the scene. As soon as the press conference began, a reporter asked, "Miss Wen, are you being coerced into holding this press conference now?" Wen Shui responded expressionlessly, "No, I just want to tell the truth. I broke off my engagement with Mr. Lu long ago, and I also have another boyfriend. Please stop spreading false rumors. Mr. Lu and Miss Song have already held their wedding ceremony. These rumors have caused tremendous harm to all of us. If anyone continues to spread such false statements in the future, we will pursue legal action." Lu Corporation's lawyer timely released the evidence of rumor spreading that we had previously collected and obtained from Wen Shui. The entire venue immediately erupted in commotion. "Miss Wen, are you connected to the spread of these rumors?" A reporter suddenly asked at this moment. Wen Shui remained silent for a while, then said in a deep voice, "Yes. Out of jealousy, I spread false statements about Miss Song and Mr. Lu. I apologized to them." After speaking, she bent deeply at the waist, bowing. Song Shuran and I stood at the very back of all the reporters, and after witnessing this scene, we held hands and left together. This rumor targeted at us has finally ended. However, the matter between the Wen family and the Lu family is not over yet. After the press conference, Wen Shui immediately called, "Lu Hui, I fulfilled all my promises to you. Shouldn't you help the Wen family now as well?" "Rest assured, I will keep my promise." The Wen family's breach of contract dispute had already been brought to court, but the moment I left the press conference, I instructed our company's legal team, withdraw the lawsuit. This whole thing was originally about clearing Song Shuren's name, and now that the goal has been achieved, I don't want to have any more entanglements with the Wen family. But the Wen family wanted more. Wen Shui's desperate shouts came from outside the door. "Lu Hui, open the door, I know you're in there." "Lu Hui, you liar. You said you would save the Wen family. You can't break your word." The moment I opened the door, Wen Shui raised her hand to slap me. But it didn't land. I would never let this woman hit me again. "Lu Hui, you liar." Shaking off her hand, "What did I lie to you about?" I sneered. "Besides, what's worth me deceiving about you or the Wen family?" "Wen Shui, I've already let your family off regarding the penalty fee. I've done all I can. You don't actually think I would help you clean up all those illegal matters, do you? Who do you think you are, and who do you think I am? Breaking the law deserves consequences. This is something that even the Lu Corporation, cannot do." She grabbed the front of my shirt. "You promised me you would save Wen Corporation." I pulled her hand off my clothes. "Yes, for matters not involving illegal activities, I did help. But for everything else, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do." After saying that, I closed the door. She tried to cry and shout at the doorway, but I had security escort her out. The investigation into Wen Corporation progressed quickly, but none of us paid any more attention to all of that. After the press conference, apologies were all over the internet. The photos of me taking Song Shuran to university from earlier were somehow posted online, which now attracted a large crowd of admirers in the comments. But we were no longer affected by any of this and returned to our normal lives. Soon Song Shuran graduated. Her family had a younger brother, so she didn't need to worry about managing the family business. She found a job she liked that involved traveling all over the country. Our only trouble was that both sets of parents nagged us about having children every few days. My phone displayed another incoming call from my mother. "Mom, Shuran is coming back today. I need to pick her up right away. Can we talk about this later? I wanted to tell you that the Wen family case has been sentenced." The Wen family matter had finally been settled after several months. Before Wen Shui returned to the country, the Wen family was already having financial problems due to poor management, which was why they were so desperate for me to marry Wen Shui. But after our engagement was cancelled, they lost the Lu family's orders, causing their decline to become even more obvious. It was at this time that Jack proposed that he had a company abroad that could help the Wen Corporation develop international business. The Wen family, as if grasping at a lifeline, easily believed his words. When Wen Shui kept delaying her return for the press conference, she was actually establishing a branch company abroad. At that time, she probably thought that since Lusher, the Lu Group, had already reached out to help, she only needed to delay until the overseas subsidiary was established. By then, Lusher would be dispensable to Wensher, the Wen Group. In that case, the press conference would become completely unnecessary. But she didn't pay attention to the contract. Although the changes to that contract were minor, it detailed the requirements for Wensher and the compensation amounts. Previously, because of our relationship, Lusher's contracts with Wensher had always provided them with maximum convenience, so they might have become too accustomed to it and didn't examine that contract closely. But even when Lusher demanded compensation from Wensher, Wen Shui still wasn't panicking. Jack must have painted some grand illusion for her, causing her to keep delaying. However, the one who delivered the fatal blow to her wasn't me. It was her beloved Jack. Jack did indeed have a company, but it wasn't any legitimate business. It specialized in distributing smuggled goods from various countries. When he returned with Wen Shui that time, he had already set his sights on the Wen family. Although the Wen family couldn't compare to the Liu family, compared to his small company, they were still a behemoth. At that time, he planned to get the Wen family on board, and when he learned about their financial difficulties, he felt it was a heaven-sent opportunity. Sure enough, with a little sweet talk, the Wen family fell for it. But what he didn't know was that the police had been watching his company for a long time. Just as Wen Shui's overseas branch was newly established, before the first shipment even arrived, the police showed up at their door. This shipment from the Wen family was in partnership with Jack's company, and soon the news from abroad was relayed back to China. It was only then that the Wen family realized they had been deceived. But by then, it was all too late. The goods had already been seized by customs. What was even worse was that Jack had packed some things inside that the Wen family knew nothing about. Fortunately, they weren't aware of it. In the end, Wen Shui was sentenced to 1 year in prison and fined 3 million. The Wen Corporation also declared bankruptcy. I never told my parents about what happened in my previous life. I didn't want them to spend their remaining years harboring hatred. But I also couldn't bring myself to forgive them, and that's just fine. Song Shiran was gone for nearly 2 months this time. As soon as he saw me, he rushed over. She had tanned a bit, and her eyes sparkled when she looked up at me. She leaned in to kiss my lips, and then said, "I have some good news to tell you." "What is it?" "Guess." "Your photos were published?" "No. You gained weight." But this time, instead of pretending to be angry like she usually did when I mentioned her weight, she lowered her head, appearing